building the secured debt section. In here, we're going to have a date input and then a total beginning outstanding balance. And then from that, we're going to be able to calculate their current mortgage payment and then where they're at now. So I'm just going to go this route and then we'll see how well that works. Now we're going to start by importing. We're going to be replacing one of these with an input field like this that's going to have the date selector. So I'm going to go into my secured debt section, and I have a date input in my Forms UI. UI. And I'm just going to replace one of those range bars with the date input. So we've got the form input, which was the name of the asset. Then this one I'm going to call date input. We'll give it a label. And the label will be mortgage start date for now. Then this range bar, which is grabbing, currently it's linked to payment, so it's passing in the items up here from payment, but we want to get the starting values or the book value. So I'm going to grab that. And that's probably not the best name for a debt, but we'll figure that out as we combine our components to make one big one. Okay, so we've got the book value there. Let's have a look at what that does. Great, so we've got the asset name, mortgage start date. Then I don't like the HTML selector here, but I kind of need it because I need an exact date. Then the starting debt value, I'll have to change the name of that. So in book value, we've got it called debt value, but I want to call it starting mortgage balance. Great. Then I need to be able to hook this up because right now I can't set it. It doesn't have a value connection. So the value we're going to have to go into here. We've got a start date, name, label, and then I'm just going to call this date. Okay, so we've got start date. The value for the date input will be that equals state dot, did we just call it start date? Yes, start date dot date. Okay, let's see. So the value is that, but we don't have a setter now, so something to set the date. So I'm just going to go into date input and see what kind of formula it is receiving. So if we go into date input, it wants a label, a type. Well, it's already date, so it doesn't need a type. The value, okay. Name, okay. Required handle change. So the handle change, it's passing in an event. So we're going to have an event that's coming in. So then up here, we're going to set the date with that event. So I'm going to call it handle change. And then we could just throw in, because we're going to be using this formula, which is set state. And I will go like this. Set state, I'll go with the E. Now, let me see here. Can I use this formula? No, I can't. I can't use set value because this is setting a financial value and a range bar value. But we want to be setting the date. So it's probably going to need its own setter formula, which is a bit of a bummer. I hate having to write new formulas that take up space, but I think we'll have to do that. I'll see here if I can just have the formula going directly into it rather than having it above, because it's just using for this one, but it might take up a little bit too much space. So we've got to go into state, but because it is a nested section that we're going into, then we've got to go another part in. So start date. Yeah, I should write this up there. I'm going to call this set date. So set date. It is just taking an event, and then it's setting state. It's going into start date. And here we go. So it goes into it, makes a copy of overall state, goes in, then it's got to make a copy of everything in start date. So we're going to do a copy of that. And then date will be e.target.value or event.target.value. Let's see if that works. Okay, so this is called set date. And event, hopefully that's okay. Okay, so let's go and see if that's working. So what we want to be able to do is put a date into it, see if it will hold the date. So we go like this, and say I started my mortgage in 2015, July 15th. Perfect. Okay, so it's holding the date. That's nice. We can see it there. Good. And then from that, now as we put in the mortgage balance, and then the interest rate, and the amortization, say it's 30 years. Perfect. Then I would say my mortgage. Now what's cool about this is because we know the date, we'll know what the outstanding balance is for each year. And so we can know, according to the month right now, what their balance should be, which is kind of helpful. But that we'll cover in a second video. But from there, if we go add, now it's not resetting the name. So I'll have to have a look at that. Then we'll go into the console. I think I'm still logging out the reducer. If we go into liability, we now have a mortgage that has all these details. Perfect. And then later we're going to be able to go in and edit it and change it up. Great.